Clemson University, sitting in the beautiful hills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in South Carolina, prides itself in its Clemson family, with the core values of integrity, honesty, and respect. It is a part of the reason we all came here, to be part of that coveted Clemson family. In these hills, it is no secret we do not have the most diverse campus. Looking around, you can tell it is a majority white institution. Think about your classes, professors, and anywhere you go on campus. With this in mind, who is a part of the Clemson family, and who is being left out of it? Clemson University was established in 1889 and has not changed its charter since then about whether females, African Americans, etc. can be admitted, which was something that stood out to me on my tour as a prospective student. I thought, how progressive, but this was far from the truth. Clemson claims to be progressive and authentic in taking action against racism and creating inclusiveness. Just look at this building, Tillman Hall, named after a well-known white supremacist, lynch-supporting South Carolinian man. Does this scream inclusiveness to you? I would argue Clemson makes an artificial attempt at inclusiveness to look good for the outside, but in reality, there is very little desire for change. As I'm sure most of you know, Clemson University was built on a plantation. In the past few years, especially in these past few months, efforts have been made to acknowledge this hard history, but only due to outside pressures after the brutal murder of George Floyd. Clemson did not change on their own. In 1963, Harvey Gantt was the first African American to attend an all-white school at any level in South Carolina. Clemson kept his integration very peaceful and quiet. This seemed to be promising for Clemson's future in diversity. And yet, over 50 years later, Clemson has an overwhelming majority of white students at 82.9% of the student population. African Americans only account for 6% of the student population, while they account for 27% of South Carolina's population. Based on this chart, Clemson is far from diverse. Compared to similarly ranked academic colleges, Clemson falls far behind in diversity. Clemson has many programs in place to promote diversity, including Tiger Alliance, which partners with high schools in South Carolina to encourage and show the opportunities for African American boys if they continue their education into college. Though these programs are in place, the diversity at the school has not increased much. In 2016, bananas were found hanging from the signs commemorating the African Americans who were enslaved at Fort Hill, the plantation Clemson is built on. Many students were outraged that such a racist act would happen. However, Black students were not as surprised. Nonetheless, there were sit-ins at Sykes to protest this racist action and demand more from the school. These sit-ins lasted 9 days, and 5 students were arrested. But it came to an end, with Clemson promising action will be taken to promote more diversity and inclusiveness on Clemson's campus. The students who committed this action's names were never released. These are some of the initiatives put in place following the Sykes sit-in. Though they look nice on paper, how are they panning out today? The Gantt Multicultural Center's presence has increased, but are there more minority faculty members? Is anyone holding them accountable for this? African American students sometimes feel isolated from our Clemson family, which is understandable as incidents like this, the one that caused the Sykes sit-ins, do not scream, "You are part of my family." They are often in the minority in classes and experience many microaggressions throughout their days. They also feel there are places on campus where they are not welcomed by other students, which is unacceptable. A.D. Carson, a Clemson graduate, wrote the poem "See the Stripes." This poem calls on Clemson to acknowledge the dark history of slavery on campus. He states repeatedly throughout his poem that while looking around Clemson's campus, you would never know that it had such a dark history, which is very true. Clemson prides itself in solid orange. It fails to acknowledge the dark marks which consist of the dark history of slavery. They are whitewashing with orange. Clemson must acknowledge these uncomfortable truths of their past and see the stripes. A tiger by nature needs its stripes to avoid being seen by its prey, so it can survive in the wild. Similarly, Clemson needs its stripes to be where it is today. A tiger looks quite silly without its stripes, and frankly, so do we. We need to wear our stripes proudly in order to flourish. Clemson made progress this past summer by removing the name Calhoun from its honors college. This was a step, however, this request did not pass in 2016 when it was brought to the trustees' attention. The trustees only changed it now because of the climate in America this past summer. Tillman Hall is under review for a name change, but it has not officially happened yet. Clemson got national attention for changing the names of the honors college and Tillman Hall. However, Tillman's Hall has not been changed. Clemson wanted the positive publicity, but were not committed to the real change. Furthermore, a current issue is Clemson getting rid of their track and field team. This team consists of a large number of African American students. If they remove this program, it will be decreasing the diversity at the school even more. If Clemson truly cared about their students of color, they would not be getting a team that houses a large majority of them. We should love our Tigers just like Joe Exotic does. If we all love our school so much, we should love the people in it too. A family does not choose who is a part of it, but they love everyone in it. Wear your orange with pride, but always remember a tiger has stripes. Clemson has dark marks, but those marks have allowed us to be who we are today. As A.D. Carson says, we'd be a beautiful tiger if we could only see our stripes. We as students, especially those of us who are not in the minority, must demand more from the school because everyone deserves to be part of our Clemson family.